Thank you. It's taken a minute though.
My son had an argument. What's he? That's nice.
Here, go back to this.
I'm showing 7. I see everyone here. Are we live on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, then I will call the meeting to order. First item is an application from Silver Roll, or I pronounce wrong. I will open the public hearing on that. I will waive the formal reading of the posted notice to the Sentinel. Is everyone familiar with the property? Yes. All right. Then you are not the applicant yourself, you're representing him?
Correct.
You are for the
I'm a
rest of
construction manager. Bill Cranker.
Thank you. So if you give us a quick summary, and then I'm sure we'll have questions.
Okay, he was originally advised to draw that pole barn on the site plan within the parameters. All it creates is just an extra step. Because we're gonna have to come here anyways. The added square footage, a lot of it has to do with the porch. The added square footage of the barn has to do with the vehicles that are gonna go in there. He does own a trucking company at 105 Silverall Drive is where all that stuff is. But guys like that, like old 1960s trucks. So his classic car still is a semi truck. Parked in that garage. There's 3 of them and some other smaller trucks. And then just your normal everyday, I have property, I'll have a tractor, a lawnmower, I want a barn. So it's pretty straightforward. I know a lot of times people are concerned about businesses being operated. You should probably not, you might not even be able to wear your shoes in this one, so. So that's the way it is. And more than enough real estate over on 105, so I'll drive to business.
All right, so let me make sure the dimensions right, because, well, as you said, it's a different box in the site plan.
Yeah,
Looks like 50 feet by 80 feet for the barn proper.
correct.
And then on the west side, the whole length, which is 80 feet, there's a 12-foot wide overhang porch.
Correct.
And then up on the front, I guess it would be the northwest corner.
Yeah.
More or less, there's a 24-foot wide, 8 feet deep overhang there.
Correct. Run.
Or
Yes,
north.
8 foot deep, and then 12 off to the one side because it'll match. So
Yeah.
depending on how you look at it, that 80 turns into 88 or that, yes, that's correct. And that'll be down to first floor height. If you call it, I say first floor height,
Okay.
more like your 10-foot height for your barn is,
Imagine the picture,
it
and
does match that.
that doesn't go all the way up, you've got, like you said.
Correct, you got that.
floor.
That's correct, yeah, that's.
So is there a reason for the porch, the overhang, whatever you want to call it, versus just leaving it open ground?
So a lot of it's look, and then it's just if you have anything that might be sitting outside, not storage wise. But I mean, even if you're out at your barn, you don't want to, in the summertime, you want to sit next to your barn. We actually have, friends might have one in Spencer. We have a picnic table underneath there. You know, you're hanging out or riding dirt bikes, and pull your dirt bike underneath there. That wash on the four-wheeler. There is a reasonable amount to it, that's what's good.
Oh, I I agree, but good to have that said.
Sure.
And you were at the March 3rd planning board meeting, does that sound about right schedule wise? So you've got an approved site plan.
Yeah, we've already built the house.
All right, I wasn't sure if it was that for long. Just so you're aware, the site plan gives the location, we're not doing anything to change that location, that's not our jurisdiction.
Correct.
Anyone else have any questions?
I'm just curious, it only exceeds by 0.2% or something like that.
Yeah,
What?
about 500 square foot.
Yeah.
62 by 80 structure.
And that's it. I'm just curious why they didn't consider reducing it by 0.2% as opposed to asking for that.
So it all comes down to like even the show trucks, they have trailers to them, they have show trailers. And he wanted that depth inside there, but when he backs the truck in, we're talking semi truck, specifically a 1962 Peterbilt. And that has a low boy trailer because when they go to a truck show, they actually put another truck on that. So it's literally just a matter of having that.
So it's depth.
Yeah.
What would 2% reduction, what would that equate to? Footage reduction?
70 foot, right around there.
That much.
Even 70 foot.
On the original site plan, I forget what the size on the original site plan didn't have the porch, and it was a little bit smaller. And I wasn't in meetings with him when he originally sat with John Travo from Mantech. I would have never advised him to put the barn on the site. There's no reason to have that there. But what he did is when he told him to put it on there, he told him to keep it within the parameters. Which does nothing for you other than go through all these approval process, and now we have to come back here. And as soon as we tweak or turn, we've now got to ask the planning board to tweak or turn something. And that just creates all sorts of issues. But if we just leave it grass and then come here and say, can we throw a barn in? Usually the answer is still yes. It's just, it feels like there's more, we have to do more now because now we're through planning. And really simple. There just happens to be somebody in a different world, an engineering world, that overthinks it. So I told him to stop.
Are you telling me that engineers overthink?
I hope you're not an engineer. But yes, it's like if I come build you a shed, I build it way different than if you go buy one because I'm a carpenter. So I don't overthink it. Less is more. There's customers in general, right? They get specific. I mean, I'm building his house. There's things that he's specific about there. You look at it, it's like, it's a difference of 4 inches. If somebody's specific, they're specific. Hold on to that. I do agree with what he wants for the depth. And I think his width, if you look at his width, he's probably got it mapped out, if I know my customer, for how much room he has in between the vehicles when they're in there, and how much room he's got left over based on his door size, and even some of the look in between the doors. So.
There are no other questions. And I will waive the formal asking of the applicant of the 5 questions because he's adequately answered them in earlier meetings. Do we have anyone, Katrina, online comment?
No.
All right. I'll open public comments, even though there's no one in the room. Since there is no one, motion to close the public hearing. Second. Need a second? All right.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We'll discuss a few other items and then move back to this. If you want to stick around, you probably have an answer under 5-10 minutes or whatever works for you. So with that, we have minutes from our last meeting back in, I believe, September. I don't know if everyone's looked at these beforehand or not. I saw a couple things we moved back in the first draft, which is corrected in the most recent. Which have been before you. Other than those, they look good to me. If anyone saw anything, by all means, bring it up. All right. Second.
Second.
Is that Dustin? We second, thank you.
All those in favor? All right, any opposed? Then we have approved minutes. Brings us back to the applicant. Everyone, we already addressing this tonight, or one nods there. I put together a draft we could use. So we will get a motion in a second. If we would say approve this. Whereas David Painter of L2 Carpentry Construction representing William Silverado, property owner, showed up at tonight's meeting. Section 260 8C3. Accessory buildings shall exceed 2%, which that is the math of 4,617 square feet that's allowed. The applicant is requesting a variance for construction of a pole barn with the dimensions listed as we discussed earlier, with a total coverage of 5,152 square feet, which is 2.23% of lot coverage. The applicant showed up at the March 3rd planning board meeting and has site plan approval. And while we mentioned barn in the approved site plan and knows that this request before the zoning board is different, no portion of this variance changes the location from the site plan. There are similarly sized barns on nearby properties. Listening to what he was said, I would add two things as separate statements. One would be the dimensions are driven by the size of the hobby vehicles. We can change that if anyone has any thoughts on that. And that the porch is there for aesthetic reasons. All of that sounds good. Then we had no members of the public, so we can scratch that. Changing the verbiage of the first whereas for the Monroe County, because we are getting stuff back from them, we should reflect that in there. So what I drafted up, I think this should be changed. This application was submitted to the county planning board review under Federal Municipal Law 239. And then we scratched the rest of it and replaced with the return comments dated and it's dated 12/7. Do you think that covers this week? That's fine. All right, so if that sounds good with the rest of you. Makes that a bit shorter and shops out the second part because they weren't substantial comments. All of that sounds good to everyone. On to the 5 factors. I would say it cannot be achieved by these means. I would say this is not substantial. I would say no environmental impact. No change to the neighborhood. And yes, it is self-created. I saw nods on all of those. Type 2 action. I see no need for any conditions if anyone else sees any. Not seeing any nods on that. So with all of that, if everyone thinks that is good, a motion to approve as we modify the draft. Motion to, all right. Have a second? Second. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, then we have your approval.
Thank you very much.
Right now, we have nothing on the schedule. Right now, we've got nothing for the next potential meeting, which will be somewhere in January. I'm sure the team will tell us when and if something comes up or whatever that date will be.
I just had a question. We've got a copy of the ZBA variance. Has there been a change to the color or is it just for purposes of the art?
Oh, no,
If-
she included it because he made a copy.
They have to
But
bring
yeah.
in 10 copies, so y'all just get it. I'm not taking it apart. I already had to take some to scan it, so, sorry.
I just thought somebody changed the water.
First of all, we're just extra this time. Page
There's
5
a Kelly tree.
Yeah.
They're already dead. Go out west sometime. It's horrible what the Chinese beetles are doing to all the pines on the entire western slope of the Rockies are just dying off record numbers right now. It's disgusting.
Is it elevation?
No, it like does not care. It's working its way over the Rockies. It'll just hit. It's gonna hit nothing in the Midwest. It's not gonna feed off anything, but it might crawl up through the north.
We were there this summer. We went to Mesa Verde.
Yeah,
Driving down through the summer, of the Crystal Mountains. You can see it.
but I mean, it's no different than like the ash borer stuff here, but it's the entire forest out there. You know, conifers. Sorry, trees are dead. I work in trees. Money grows on them.
I don't eat meat, but I wear them. They're already dead.
Are you a linguist?
Now, that would be this current profession, yes. It is, it's fun. I like it. It's good working outside every day.
Do much.
Oh, yeah, we're silly. So we were just, we did a crane job yesterday, 2 pine trees for, I forget what the guy's last name is, but he was awesome. His name is Otto. He runs the Pirate Toy Fund, former state trooper guy. Really cool. So like that was insane just because it's a crane. So I mean, you got trees flying over your head, 120 beats per minute for 6 hours. It's fun.
My wife is forbidden me to use my chainsaw.
Yeah, because you fell off the tree.
You only got 9.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we could close the
Motion to
meeting.
adjourn,
Yes,
Second.
second.
All right.
Excellent.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is the meeting. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
No.
No.
You get a hold of Katrina